Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining the meeting. And today we will do a deep dive on DESelect Engage, a brand new platform built to help with saturation control, prioritizing communication, and optimizing campaigns in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. My name is Zuzana. I am a Salesforce Marketing Cloud architect at Deloitte Digital. I am also a Salesforce MVP and the creator of AmpScript.io and DataViews.io, the two online apps designed to help Salesforce Marketing Cloud developers. And our guest today is Gregory, who's an account executive at DESelect. Gregory, would you like to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you very much, Susanna, and thanks for the warm introduction. My name is Gregory, and indeed, I'm an account executive in DESelect, and my role is currently onboarding the new product of Engage and identifying if it has of any help for clients with saturation control and campaign prioritization. Thank you.
Thank you. So Gregory will do a demo of Engage in a couple of minutes. But before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping. As usual, today's session will be recorded and shared on the Trailblazer Community Group's website and on our YouTube channel. At the end of the session, there will be an opportunity to engage with Gregory and ask questions about the DESelect app. So post your questions in the chat or ask them directly at the end during the Q&A. Lastly, don't forget to sign up for our upcoming meetings organized by the Poznań Salesforce Marketer Group. In June, we will host a Connections watch party for all of you who are not able to attend it in person this year. Then we will have a short summer break in July and August, and we will resume our regular meetings in September. Once all dates are finalized, I will announce them on the Trailblazer Community Group's website and on my personal LinkedIn, so stay tuned. As per our tradition, we have some prizes to give away. We have a Trailblazer hoodie and some certification vouchers today, and to participate in the lottery, simply follow the link provided and fill out the form. Don't worry if you miss it now, I'll post the link in the chat later as well. The lottery winners will be announced at the end of the event, so stay tuned to find out if you're one of the lucky winners and how to claim your prize. And now off to you, Gregory, for the demo of the DESelect Engage app.
Thanks a lot, Susanna, and again, thanks a lot for the introduction. I also would like to thank everyone who joins our session today. So we will be talking about DESelect Engage, and I will give you a brief introduction of what why did we come up with such a solution? Why do we see, why did we choose some early customers as early adopters? What was the initial need, and what was the problem that we faced so far? Also, our insights on the existing solutions and what were the limitations that were noticed by our other clients. And then we will also go through the live demo of the solution that we can also do a dive deep, see how that works, and you can ask some technical questions right there. All right, let me share my screen. So you should be able to see it now.
Yes,
can you see it?
Can see it. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Right. Okay, then I will be starting the presentation. So first off, let me also introduce DESelect. We are as a company, we created already one platform for Salesforce Marketing Cloud. You might heard of DESelect Segment. And today I'm presenting DESelect Engage. What is common is all our platforms are solutions are developed for Salesforce Marketing Cloud. We are fully integrated into this platform, and this is currently the only cloud in Salesforce we work with. So maybe when we dive deep into the Engage, I want first to share a bit of the problem or the reasons why we decided to create such a solution. So why a saturation control tool? First off, we identified that the following challenges are quite common among the companies we work with. So first off, marketing deals with a lot of different departments or business units, which ask for campaigns and prioritized or urgent emails. And all of these departments target normally the same contact or the same subscriber, while there is no clear view or there is no overview of the impact for one single contact. Another aspect of that is going omnichannel, which is a goal, but at some point it's also a pain, since every company wants to go for omnichannel approach, but the more channels they are using, the harder it is to control first of the usage of super messages, and another point is to control how many communications or how many messages every contact receives. So far, there is no standardized solution available which could provide such a control solution. And we saw that some custom solutions were implemented, and there was some interest from several companies in that. So why saturation control? First, we try to make the saturation control solution to avoid oversaturation. So that's the primary goal. This should stop, or this should prevent sending people too many communications, which leads to unsubscribes and marketing fatigue. But also, since with that you can actually save some slots and you will be sending less of communication, you can reallocate, let's say, if you have a package of super messages, or you think that some more campaigns can be launched, you can increase overall frequency, but without impacting the engagement. So the user should be able to then find those undersaturated segments of customers and probably decide to target them a bit more. All right, let's go through a real challenge or real case example. So let's take the use case where we want to set the rule that every contact should receive only 3 emails per 15 days. In this example, here the line is for today, and we assume we have already sent 2 communications before. So since we set the limit to only 3 emails, we have only 1 slot available. So 1 is available slot and 2 possible communications are planned. Now, if you wish to decide which communication should be sent, in that case, there are several or multiple approaches to do it. The most common approach, or the most easy one, is to define priority is the same as the send date. So first comes, first serves. For instance, that's what Marketing Cloud out-of-the-box solution does. Einstein engagement frequency. So you can just prioritize the most or the next planned send. It becomes a challenge in the case that you're planning several communications at the same day, and you need to prioritize one of them, or you need to set the priorities for all communications and choose which should still go first. Or it can be the other way around. So the campaign which is scheduled to be sent later might be still more important. Like in this example, the CEO might be pressuring to send it out. Or this can be the important policy update. This can be an update of terms and terms and usage services. Anyway, if you need to prioritize another campaign which is to send later, this was one of the challenges. And then it also it makes it hard to keep track of where users are and therefore calculate the available slot for them. Reason is that if you can see this example, there are 3 campaigns scheduled at one day but they're not scheduled by the same department and by the same person. For instance, B2C marketing wishes to send campaign for people who bought certain product in the last period of months. Then product marketing wants to do an A/B testing based on gender for people who live in certain region, and still the general company newsletter is triggered automatically. So as you can see, there are 3 campaigns are planned by different departments, and the challenge is to define which one should be prioritized. Now, until now, we have spoken about one simple rule, which is 3 emails per 15 days. But in reality, many companies have more advanced requirements, such as 3 marketing emails per 15 days. But obviously, you do not want those 3 emails to be sent in one day. So then additional rule should be introduced that also only 1 email per day should be sent unless they are of different types. Or you might set different rules for different your contact categories. For instance, 3 emails for leads, but for active customers, it might be limited to 2 emails. So you can also define it per channel, per campaign type, or per contact category, as you see here. Now, I want to say a few words about the existing solutions that we also saw that could solve this issue. And one of them is definitely Einstein engagement frequency. So we also had some conversation with the customers, and also asked if they why don't they go for such a plugin. So we noticed that for many customers it works well. However, some of them reported they could not use it. So these are the most common reasons or points were raised during the conversations. So the first one, the Einstein engagement frequency module will not, it will not work in case you are not using Marketing Cloud's out-of-the-box subscription center. So if you have your custom page or custom preference center, custom subscription center, all contacts will be just marked as undersaturated or on target. It supports only email and push channels, which in most cases email is the main channel. But if you wish to also use SMS, there might be a limitation. And I think one of the most important or most commonly raised reasons were it's a black box. So you cannot edit the secret sauce behind it, or you cannot customize the rules, and you cannot influence on how the decision if this contact is saturated or not is being made. So you basically, if you wish to stay in control, this might be a bit challenging here. And we also saw that another possibility is to building a custom solution, which is a quite common practice. And well, it's also a good practice if to solve one use case. And we see for it works quite well for those projects where it has to be like, where the use case is defined and that can be managed just through developing a custom solution. What we noticed is, well, if it has to be evolved over time, the solution is built once, and then all the iterations should be either handled by internal developers team, or it can be also be done with the partner. So we also see some solutions such as Cloud Pages and some SQL, which can solve the need, but the main limitation is it's not much scalable, and still custom development is required. Okay, so what I want to share on the solution we developed is, first off, it's the saturation control and prioritization tool. So when you look on it, you might be looking on 2 parts. The first one is defining saturation control rules. And in that case, you can define rules based on the type of contact, campaign, and channel. And they will calculate on the number of slots available for communication sent by sent to a contact. And then the next step, which is optional. So if you do not have any campaign planning, you can skip it, but you can set priorities for your campaigns. And you can also define if there is only one slot available, then which campaign should be prioritized. We do not impose a limit on the channels or omni-channel support. However, if you wish to add your custom channel, we need to have an access to a data extension where two columns are present, being the send date, so when the communication was sent, and contact key to whom it was sent. Then it can be added as a custom channel. And lastly, it's plug and play, so there is no need to wait for data, and it can be integrated within one business day, and you can already start defining the rules. Now we also see that we support clients with three scenarios, and we see all of them happening with multiple occasions. So the first scenario is when the team knows in advance what they're going to send and to whom. So prioritization, if campaigns starts on the beginning of the week, this helps you to plan your campaigns, assign time slots, set priorities, and then make it as a planned campaign calendar. Scenario number 2 means that you do not know in advance what you are going to send, but you want the saturation control rules to be applied ad hoc. So if let's say if today one department wants to create the new marketing campaign and they send it right after creation, they still want to check if there is an available slot and if there are no other campaigns with a higher priority. And the last scenario is hybrid. I must say it's the most common scenario for and enterprises. So it means that some of the departments or some users can plan and predefine their campaigns, but others would do it ad hoc, and still saturation rules should be applicable. It's also possible that someone wants to create a campaign, but they do not know what is the send time would be. So we'll also see how all these scenarios can be tackled. Now, how does it work? So we'll go through 3 steps. First one, we'll define general rules for each contact category based on channel and campaign type. Second part, which is optional, but we can plan and prioritize campaigns to reserve slots. And lastly, to make the live decision and to make it actually real-time decision, we will add the Engage decision split in Journey Builder, which helps you to define the path on if the contact is oversaturated or if they still have a slot available. All right, I think at this point I will switch to my Salesforce Marketing Cloud demo environment. And first off, I will open DESelect Engage. So you can find it here under the App Exchange button, since we are an App Exchange solution. And once you open it, you will see the dashboard with all the planned campaigns for this month. You can obviously go through planning for other months here. Now you can see the legend, which explains the colors that you can see for every campaign, and it represents the number of saturated contacts. So if it's green, most of them are undersaturated. If it's yellow, then from 20 to 50% of your audience is saturated, and red means that more than half of audience is this campaign already consumed order slots. It can be waiting for calculation. There might be no records if you by mistake select a data extension with no marketable records. Or you can also impose an exclusion, which I will briefly talk in a moment. All right, first off, let's go to the admin panel and talk how can you define saturation rules. The first point is setting the user access, and there are 3 roles in DESelect that you can set for Engage users. First role is a DESelect admin. So this is someone who can access the admin panel, define the saturation control rules, and edit all the campaigns. The second role is campaign manager. So this is someone who cannot enter the admin panel, hence cannot define rules, but campaign manager can create campaigns and edit them. And the last one is read only. So this person can only access the campaign calendar, follow what's being on the agenda, and then send only planned or existing campaigns. Okay. So let's start with the first part of defining the campaign types. In my case, I only have newsletter, promo, and survey. This is the point where you can define your campaign types just by adding them manually. And you will also see the number of related rules for each campaign type. Though in my case, I did not link them to campaign types, but I will show how it can be done. The next point is to define your master data extension or your golden record data extension, basically the data extension where all of your contacts can be found. We need to know what is the contact key in your data extension and which field contains the category, contact category names. So the contact category name, what is that? It's basically the classification or type of your contacts, which you can use for making a decision or making rules based on that. In my case, it's pretty simple. It's customer, lead, prospect, but you can also make it based on, for example, based on the outcome of your RFM model. Like if you define some tiers such as bronze, gold, silver, you can define different rules for each level. Or you can also use, for instance, lead scoring results, or just follow the standard setup. So as mentioned, we will be using customer, lead, and prospect categories. We only need to know the field where this information is stored, and then DESelect scans those types automatically. Okay. And now we are coming to the part where we can define the saturation control rules. And at this point, the general suggestion or the best practice we recommend is to start creating the rules with the top-down approach. So this means that I will start for the most general rule to be defined. In my case, I call it golden rule to avoid oversaturation. It's applied to all the contacts. And here it says it should be no matter what, but we are sending only 3 communications of all campaign types. So you can also specify the campaign type via all the channels per 14 days. So this means that this will be applied to all the contacts. Then I will define more concrete or more narrow rules. For instance, for contacts, for existing customers, I will choose the contact category customer. I will define customers should receive only 2 emails per 14 days. The next part is to define the rule that for all the contacts, there should be maximum 1 email per 1 day. So we do not want those 2 or 3 emails per 15 or 14 days to be sent in 1 day. With this rule, you can avoid sending this all in one. And then I define also another rule for leads. Let's say for leads, we have 1 email per 14 days. And we can also define the rule for SMS. Let's say it should be only 1 SMS per 2 days. So as you can see here, the basic understanding is you can define it per combination of contact categories, campaign types, and channel. All right. So once we have defined our rules, what you can also do is to define your data extension folders. What does this mean? Is I think it's in particular relevant for those companies who are either heavily regulated by GDPR. For example, such industry can be pharma. So in pharmaceutical, it's quite strict not to allow access from one business unit to another. And as in this example, you can simply exclude shared data extensions folder to be not accessible to all the users. It can be another way around. So if you want your teammates only to be able to use data from specific data extensions, you can actually only include the data extensions with all the contacts or the ones that have contact specific information. Okay. And last but not least, in the admin panel is you can also choose a time zone. DESelect does the general refresh of all campaigns and calculating of how many sends were done within the time period you defined every day at a certain time. For instance, you can define when the automatic refresh happens and then, of course, in which time zone. And you can also define which send classifications should be ignored. So by default, Engage ignores transactional send classifications, and it is not counted as slot consumed. But if you have a certain commercial send classification which you want not to be part of calculation, so we want to ignore that, you can also add send classification as the one should be ignored. All right. So once you defined all the rules in the admin panel, now we can proceed to the second step, which is defining the priorities and campaigns. As you can see, I already have some campaigns. Let's say they are already planned. And to create a new campaign, I can show you the example of existing one. You need to define the name, choose a data extension of the audience you want to target. So in my case, I'm using only customers data extension. You can also, here it shows you a link directly to a data extension. So if you wish to see who will be in that audience, you can just click on it. You also need to define the contact key, planned send date. So this will show, and this is needed for the campaign calendar view for campaigns to plan and estimate how many slots will be available for contacts in this data extension. And then you also need to define channel and campaign type. So a very important step is to define campaign priority. In DESelect, you can set it from 1 to 100, where 1 is the most important campaign. And when the decision is made, and if there are multiple campaigns scheduled on the same day, like for today, for instance, the decision will be made based on the priority of the campaign. So I mentioned in the beginning that there is also possibility to define the exclusion. So it might be the situation that the campaign does not have any more slots to be sent, but still this is quite an important campaign. And let's say you might be legally obliged to send it. For example, terms and conditions update. In that case, you can disable saturation control button. In that case, if it's turned off, DESelect Engage will not apply the logic. So it will let it to be sent, but it will consume one slot for, so let's say there were still contacts who had a slot available, then it will be consumed. But the main point is that this campaign will be sent. You can also preview every campaign, so you can see what is the total contacts you enrolled in it, how many contacts will be included, and how many of them will be excluded. And later on, we'll also see in the dashboard why they were excluded and what was the reason for that. But before I go there, on the campaign planning side, let's say I want to send the customer update campaign, but I see that even if I send it next week, actually most of contacts are already oversaturated by then. So you can either change the priority or maybe change the rules if so. But if this campaign should be sent, you may try to send it on another date. And if I reschedule it to be sent, let's try, for example, on Friday. So I can just move it. And then you can recalculate the priorities. So now Engage will recalculate if there are any available slots and if it's better to send it on the 28th of April. If it's not, then we can actually, so you see calculation is completed, but still most of them will be oversaturated. Then we might send it in May. So let's try to send it on Wednesday. And recalculate again. So this is the way you can find a sweet spot for the perfect send of your campaign if you wish to still send it and get the better result. So I think since we applied 14 days, we might even need to push it, let's say for later in May and recalculate it. So by moving this, you can actually find better spots. Okay, if you look in May, I think it still has to be recalculated. Well, in that case, you can see that you can move it and then change the color and define the sweet spot. But of course, since my rules are quite wide for 14 days and more, you need to find a better time. All right. So once you planned the campaigns and you, let's say you are satisfied with the number of contacts which will be over or under saturated, you can also proceed to the list view. And here you can see the same campaigns, but now they will be marked with the priorities. So you will be able to define priorities right here. See the campaign type, channel, planned send date. You can also copy and delete them. As I mentioned that in the search scenario, there might be some campaigns that you are sure you want to send, but you do not yet know when. So you can create unscheduled campaigns, and when you know the date, you can move them to the overall campaign calendar. Then we can also have a look on the dashboard, and this will show you the either view per campaign or per contact. So you can switch if you want to have the clear overview of all the contacts in a campaign, or vice versa, all the campaigns contact is enrolled in. And let's have a look based on this example. So let's say we have a new product promo. And you can see that there is a number of included contacts, but some of the contacts were excluded. And here you can see the reason why did that happen. So, for example, some contacts already are included in the campaign, which has already been sent. So they were excluded. On another example, if you see another campaign, so if I wanted to also show another example, so you can also see if it exceeds a certain rule, for example, 2 email per 14 days for customers, then it shows which exactly rule was exceeded. Okay. You can also see an overview per contact. So if you wish to know in which campaigns contact is enrolled in, you can click on the contact key. So let's take some contacts, this one, for example. And you can see in which campaigns did this contact take part and in which not, and also why. So past campaigns are as follows, and you can also see the future campaigns, their planned send date, and what will be the planned status if you send them on the planned date. So some of them will be excluded and some sent. All right, so that's what you can do in the dashboard. I also mentioned that if the send happens as planned, since there's one important point to highlight, the DESelect Engage does not do any sends in fact. So how the send happens is we still need to use Journey Builder. to execute the journey and do the actual send. So if in Journey Builder you plan the campaign exactly for the same date as you do in DESelect Engage, you can expect the same result as you planned. But of course, if you send it later, it's not a problem. Still, the decision will be made real time. So at the point, let's say the campaign which was planned for today, if you try to send it tomorrow, then the decision will be made tomorrow on the time of send, and the actual slots will be calculated on the go. So let's have a look on how it works in practice. When I go to Journey Builder, I would like to show you two examples, one of a simple journey and then second one of more of a complex journey. So the simple journey is basically following the same procedure as you would send a normal journey. You need to define the entry source, which is a source data extension, schedule if you wish to repeat it or send once. And then you need to add DESelect Engage decision split. So you will see this little penguin, which means that now you can choose your campaign, and which you can choose from all the campaigns created in the dashboard. And there's another possibility to still disable saturation control rules. So if this is too much of an important campaign, you can just disable it and it still will be sent. So what happens then? There are two passes that the contact can follow. If they're oversaturated, they're excluded. And for instance, you can just end the journey and so they do not receive any communication. If it's included, you can send the email or do the necessary action. So this is when the actual send is happening. And here at this point, the real-time decision is made. So this was a simple journey. We simply excluded those who should not receive the communication. But let's have a look on a more complex one. So let's say we have an important campaign, which it's not urgent to be sent, but still marketers prefer it to be received by the contacts. What you can do is to add the decision split of Engage before every send. And let's say for those who were excluded, let's wait 3 days and check again. Maybe now they have more slots available. Still, if they are excluded, then we can wait another 3 days. And then you can make a decision. All right, so if by then they still do not have any available slots, but we tried to wait almost 1 week, we should still send this campaign. So then you can disable the saturation control rules, for instance. And then for all the contacts, the email will be sent, of course, consuming 1 extra slot. So that's an example of more complex journey. And I should say that DESelect Engage perfectly works with Einstein modules, for example, for send time optimization, which you can add right after the decision split. So you can also work with Journey Builder as usual. So I think that's what I wanted to show you here in Journey Builder. That's an example of more advanced journey. And basically that's what I wanted to show in the demo. I just want to do a quick recap on what's the added value you can expect. So far, what we get reported is it's basically brings you time optimization. Another interesting aspect is this is the possibility to control the spend of super messages, because then you can set, and since you also know the price for a specific type of message, you can also define how many communications should be sent and to whom. So also you can control it. And also you can find the sweet spot. Of course, it comes with trial and error. There is no, let's say, way for now to define that, well, this customer should receive it by that time. But by just by changing the priorities in the dashboard, you should be able to define when is the better time to receive communication. And of course, the overall goal is to reduce churn and unsubscribes and improve the engagement quality. So that's what I wanted to share about Engage for today. And I think at this point, I will be passing the word to Susanna if you have any questions.
Yes, we do. We do have a few questions in the chat, so I will go through all of them. The first question, can we select different fields than contact category?
So if you wish to select the field for contact category, well, it's first off, it's not mandatory to select such a field. So if you do not have contact categories, you can just skip this step, and it basically will have one big contact category like everyone. But you can choose which field contains the contact category. So it's actually up to you to define which field or which column has that values. And it should not have the name contact category as such. It can be contact type or just type.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the next question, is there a report on contacts which were attempted to have been sent an email, but due to rules, they did not get the email? So Agnieszka says, I mean, we set maximum 3 emails per 7 days, but there were 5 attempts. Can we get a report of those 2 unsuccessful ones?
It's a good question. At the moment, there is no report. There is no such a report you can get. You can only see in dashboard information per contact. So if you click on a contact, you can see of how many campaigns they were tried to be involved in, but there is no such a possibility at the moment, though I know it's on the roadmap. We had some requests on providing some reporting also on the number of campaigns, but also based on the contacts. So I think it will be released with later releases.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Next question from Brian. Can I add multiple data extensions when setting up a campaign?
For the moment, also it's not possible. So you can set one data extension per campaign. Well, in this case, we will just recommend setting 2 campaigns with the same priority on the same date. So it's actually a good point. Since you might have them in different data extensions, but I will just take a note on that. I will share with the team internally.
Mm-hmm. Great. Next question. If a contact is stored in multiple data extensions and one of them was applied the saturation rule, is it still sendable in the one which is not applied the rule? Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. So the way DESelect Engage works is that the information about every contact or contact ID is stored on our server. So we store information such as a contact ID and send date. We collect it from 2 sources. So first one is the data views of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So if let's say that there is one user who forgot or just did not want to add the journey, the communication was sent, so Engage will still read it from the data views, and well, if the email was sent, then it will consider this as a consumed slot. And second point where we collect the data is the decision split that you just saw in Journey Builder. So by saying that, we have the holistic view of all the activities that the contact ID is involved in, and it's actually does not matter in which data extension it's stored until they have the same contact ID. So for us, the contact ID is the most important part, and the location of data extension is less important.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Next question from Claire. Does it only work in Journey Builder?
Yes. So for the moment, it works in only in Journey Builder. I think we had some questions if it can work in Email Studio, which we see that in many cases is used for one-time sends. So we are looking into that. Actually, the point is that if we followed the best practices from Salesforce, and we see that the overall tendency that we noticed is Salesforce tries to move most of activities to Journey Builder. Even for one-time send activity, there's like a short journey in Journey Builder. So at the moment, Engage works only in Journey Builder, but we are also looking into solution for Email Studio at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So one more question from Agnieszka. How about ongoing campaigns triggered from Sales Cloud? From Sales Cloud campaigns, does DESelect support that? So I guess you've answered, but
yeah. Well, actually, if it's triggered indeed, so it's Journey Builder. If it's a Journey Builder campaign, then yeah. It's you just need to include the Engage decision split there, and if it's maybe also to add to that question, if this is not a triggered one from Sales Cloud, but you just want to target or to send it to those come from synchronized data extension, so they are also supported in Engage. Basically, you need to just to make sure in the admin panel that they are included and they are accessible for the users.
Mm-hmm. And next question, how to access or add the DESelect feature in Marketing Cloud?
For that, you can read more on our website. So normally, you can also request it on the App Exchange, but normally then our team will contact you, since we'll also perform more deep dive demo, and we'll ask you a bit more information on the channels that you wish to integrate, and we'll also provide you with the demo. And then practically, so once, let's say, once all the processes before the installation happened, which I mean procurement, legal, and other checks, the installation itself takes about 1 hour, and normally it's the installed package that is installed in Salesforce Marketing Cloud.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And I think that's the last question. Exactly what customer-related data does DESelect store in their own servers?
Yeah, so we do store the information about the contact ID, and we also store information from the data views on when the communication was sent, and we also know what channel was used. So this metadata that you see in the DESelect Engage, such as the channel, such as contact category, is stored. So we do not store the PII data. So it's not that we store any email or name or last name, but it is needed to be stored in order to make a decision. And if you define, let's say, a longer range, let's say more than 30 days, then this information is kept on that server. So it's mostly to answer your questions precisely. It's contact ID, it's send date, channel, and information from the data views.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. So I guess that's it for the questions, unless anyone has any more questions. There's some feedback about the app in the chat, so you can take a look at that, Gregory, later as well. And now, if there are no more questions, I will take over the screen again for 1 more minute. Let me just open it up. Okay, so now for the lottery winners, congratulations, Daniel, Isabel, Aulona, David, Sandeep, and Florin. I will email each one of you separately tomorrow to let you know what you have won and how to claim your prize. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Gregory, for presenting. And until the next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very much, Susanna. Thanks for organizing this. And yeah, thank you very much for having us as a guest.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.